I have a lot of things I want to get off my chest.
Well, enough is enough, and it's time for a change.
Finally, The Rock has come back. I hate this idea that you're the best.
And if you're not down with that, we got too much for ya!
I'm the best in the world.
I fight at WrestleMania for the very, very small percentage of people that walk this planet and say I am proud to be, I'm sorry, a professional wrestler.
Oops, I'm breaking the fourth wall.
It's Podcast of the Immortals with your hosts, Matt Bush and Jimmy Bellamy. Alright, welcome to episode 7 of Podcast of the Immortals. I am Matt Bush.
And as the intro said, I'm Jimmy Bellamy, or Jimmy Bellamy.
Jimmy Bellamy and Matt Bush.
Love it.
We got a great episode for you this week. We're going to be recapping Raw, as always. We had another interesting Raw. We have our top 10. This week's top 10 is the top 10 WrestleMania matches of all time. That was a really tough one to whittle down. What do you think?
A lot of good contenders there. I liked putting it together, and I think we have a good list. I think you guys will like it.
Yeah. And then we're gonna, to cap it all off, we're gonna finish our fantasy draft, our WWE fantasy draft, round 16 through 25. We're just gonna hit the last 10 like gangbusters, and we're gonna finish out our team, round out our 25 team rosters.
And my lineup will crush yours.
Allegedly. One side note, this will be my last episode for 2 weeks.
Ever.
Yep. Unless I'm going to be replaced. I'll be in New York for WrestleMania. I'm leaving Sunday on Easter.
But we'll still give you the podcast. Don't worry about it. And Matt will still phone in because of technology.
Yes, I will phone in. You won't miss me that much, but I will be gone.
He's just going to sound different.
Yeah. I'll sound a little tinny. But we do have a special guest lined up, hopefully. David Sabick, he's the owner of Heavy on Wrestling. He actually just had a show last Saturday down in Minneapolis, had X-Pac on it. It was Jerry Lynn's retirement show. One of your favorites, Perry Saturn, was at the show.
I know, with his face tattoo.
Yeah, his Mike Tyson face tattoo.
I love that you refer to him as one of my favorites. He is. I just wish Billy Gunn had been there too.
I know. Then you should have been there. If Billy
and
Gunn
X-Pac tore his anus open.
That is true. I was texting David, going, "Hey man, what the heck? What kind of show you running there?"
Oh man!
But he confirmed that it did happen.
And Val Venus wasn't even on that show.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. I thought he was supposed to be. Was he supposed to be? I can't remember.
I'm just gonna let that one go. A couple of the listeners, I think, would understand.
Oh, that's right. Oh my god, now I remember. Oh, okay. We're nerds. Okay, so we'll get right into Raw now. We had CM Punk coming out talking some more shizite on The Undertaker.
Really? Shizite?
Shizite, yeah. Shit, as you know. Saying that The Undertaker's career should have ended last year at 20-0. It would have been the perfect moment. And now he's too old. He's coming back one too many times. And he spikes the urn.
Yeah, I was hoping, again, something's got to come out of that thing. Spill it. I want to see some dirt. Make Paul Bearer's final TV appearance be right before WrestleMania.
Dirt?
In the form of sand or ash or whatever.
Just dirt from like the streets, the gravel.
Yes.
What was Paul Bearer made out of?
He was gritty. I guess
Gritty performer. Well, after that, the lights go out. You get the Taker dong. We won't say anything beyond that. And the lights come back on, and Taker just in the ring, destroying CM Punk.
That's my favorite, when he starts in the ring, just so he can save us that 3 minutes of him walking down.
Yeah.
But that was cool. But Punk got away quickly, and Paul Bearer picked up that fumble. I said Paul Bearer.
Yeah.
I almost said Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman picked up that fumbled urn and ran like a...
Like Bo Jackson.
No, he ran like some goof who only plays football on Thanksgiving in his backyard
With the family.
Yeah, he looked good.
But he was out of there like lightning.
Yes, I think he probably pulled something. He went by so quickly.
Yeah, but that was a really cool way to start off Raw. It was a lot better than Pancake Patterson.
See, I missed Pancake Patterson. He was awesome. I wish he would have made an impact this past week on Raw. People on Twitter were looking for him. I think I check on hashtag Pancake Patterson, and there were several tweets wondering where he was.
No, I believe it. I just don't think Pancake Patterson should be kicking off Raw with John Cena 3 weeks before WrestleMania.
Probably not. Well, no, they did do that, but this would be 2 weeks before WrestleMania. That would be bad.
But yeah, I mean, Pancake Patterson could have been in some other match later in the night or something like that.
He was solid.
But he was not there. So I thought it was a lot better start to Raw this week. I thought it really kicked off with a bang.
It was a good start with Punk not being able to wrestle leading up to WrestleMania. It was good to have him open the show in the ring. And, I mean, I'm ready for this match. I'm excited for it. I think it has, again, like I've said, the most potential to get our attention with these two guys, with Undertaker's history at WrestleMania, with Punk's recent history as a performer. This is going to be good. I look for the go-home show next week to maybe turn it up even higher than it has been right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, you'd hope so. You know, the go-home show to WrestleMania is usually, where they bring out Mike Tyson, where they, build it up as much as they can. I don't
get every last buy out of the fans.
Absolutely. So it'll be exciting to see what happens. Maybe actually have a little more action where Punk can actually maybe get a punch in on Taker instead of just getting his ass handed to him. But I liked it. It built the story a lot better. It actually got Taker into the ring. He didn't look like an old man. It looks like he can go. So I'm excited about that match.
Me too.
Right after, we had another Fandango sighting who he came out and Y2J just sprints down the ring and spears him, and I was like, holy, I was not expecting that. I thought that was really cool. And they actually got some good action in before Fandango just left, basically.
I'm more interested in this match than I initially thought I would be. The crowd seemed to be into it, and I know Jericho's a fan favorite, of course, but Fandango, I noticed there were a lot of signs for him. Mm-hmm. Of course, they've spared no expense to have that large fiery silhouette sign or whatever that is.
I really liked his dancing girl this week, by the way.
Yeah, she was just all right.
Sitting there in the splits, and I thought she was really cute.
She was okay, but you could have told me she was the same one they've had in recent weeks, and other than a couple of times, I really haven't noticed them being any different. But
I think they've been a different girl each week.
I'm just not really into like the dancing girls. I'm looking for somebody like not quite Tamina-esque, but give me like Natalia or Kaitlyn. Yeah, somebody like that. Somebody with that build. I'm excited to see this fight, and I think for a good portion of this Fandango run of coming out, not fighting, I thought, how is this any way to build up a person's momentum? Now I think that it's actually going to pay off.
Well, everyone wants to see his ass beat right now.
Yeah. I do like how he enters the ring, though, with the jump over the top rope.
He's really, really athletic.
Very cool.
And the way he jumps onto the top rope, like to do that leg, basically the Hogan leg drop off the top rope, graceful. He's like RVD hopping up on there. I did read a news article, I guess you could say, on Jericho and how he was disappointed coming back, because he basically said, I'll do whatever you want, but I'd like a nice match. And apparently he was supposed to face Ryback at first, and those plans fell through. And when he was told that he was going to face Fandango, he was actually he threw a little hissy fit, apparently.
Jericho?
Yeah.
Throw a hissy fit?
Yeah.
No. That's never been documented that he's done that.
But now he's looking at it as an opportunity, because expectations will be lower. They can actually go out and put on a good show, and people will be impressed by it. and he's really looking forward to kind of helping Fandango over. And he's been impressed. He's watched his work. Was it Johnny Curtis?
Yep.
In the independents and stuff, and he's really been impressed with his work. So he's actually really excited about the match now.
This could go one of two ways. This could be a match where you look at it and say, this is what helped launch Fandango's career. Or you can look at it years from now and say, oh God, you remember when Johnny Curtis did that Fandango gimmick? Yeah, this was that match. And I mean, that doesn't even necessarily mean that the match would have to be bad. It just means that if this character lasts or not, we'll see. I mean, I think he's a terrific performer. I think he has a lot of potential.
Yeah.
And I have no doubt that these two, I mean, they're bound to put together a good match. I think that in the eyes of the casual fan, they will be pleasantly surprised. But if you look at Jericho's history in general, yes, but even at WrestleMania especially, he's had some terrific matches, and he's been with a variety of competitors and in a variety of styles of matches.
Oh yeah.
So
Jericho can wrestle in any style basically. And he did have a match right after this action with Fandango, with Ziggler coming out, and Jericho actually won the match, getting Ziggler to tap out to the balls of Jericho. Which actually looked like the Lion Tamer.
Yeah, it did. Yeah. It looked, especially the way it started, it looked like he had him in the Lion Tamer with the knee to the back of the head, or the small of the between the shoulders.
Mm-hmm. And right after that, Big E took out Jericho, giving him his finisher. I don't know what they call it yet.
You know what? I think they've said it, but I could be wrong. I don't. If they have said it, I can't remember what it's called. It's not the Patriot Lock. I know that.
Maybe it's the Patriot Act.
It could be. Maybe that's why they call the Patriot Lock
exactly.
The Patriot Lock. Because Big E had the. It could be called. It could be called like the Double D's or something.
The Double D's.
He just smacks him on his man boobs, slams him down.
Well, it's kind of like an RKO, but on the abdomen instead of the neck. Or diamond cutter, I guess. But and then Fandango comes out again after Jericho's been laid out, hits him with that big leg drop. I think they had a name for that as well. It was some dance move, I'm sure. But
I'm not up on the names of these new guys' moves. I still can't even say what's that Sandow elbow, Kobito. Akiet or something.
Yeah, the elbow of disdain. I believe it's
that's what it translates to be. This Fandango match. It went from not even being on my radar to one I'd say not most looking forward to. But you've got Punk Undertaker, you've got this one, and I think that tag match could be decent too.
Yeah, I think so as well. I'm waiting for the stipulations on some of these matches, because I think we're going to get a few of those.
Back with Ziggler, I was surprised he tapped so quickly, if that means anything.
Yeah. Well, he was locked in there really well. One of the reasons why Jericho stopped using the Lion Tamer and went to the walls of Jericho is that people couldn't crawl out of it. It was just really tough for it believably to get out of that hold. So when I saw the Lion Tamer, I was really surprised, because he usually will start with that and then he'll go into the walls.
He's done that a couple times, and I think it was the Rumble this year he pulled off a Lion Tamer, and I want to say sometime after his return last year he did it too. I'm glad that I found that out from you now, because I just assumed that when he made that transition to WWF that they said, no, you're not going to do it, because it was maybe more painful a move to do. But it does make sense the way guys were locked in. I always preferred the Lion Tamer, because I thought it looked totally badass to have your knee behind the guy's head like that.
Well, it's just a Boston Crab, really.
But better.
Yeah. Well, no, the Walls of Jericho.
Oh, the Walls of Jericho, yeah. And I thought that was the reason that they're just like, that's your WCW move, you're going to do this, it's safer. But then in WWE 13, they actually have both. He's equipped with both. He has the Lion Tamer and the Walls of Jericho, which is very cool.
Yeah, I was always a big Lion Tamer guy, but because you can't like you can't own a move. So like WCW didn't own the Lion
No,
team.
certainly not. But I just thought that WWE, or F as they were, like they've been known to do, it's like, forget about what you did before. You're going to do this with us.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought they just would want to take it away since he was no longer being referred to as the Lionheart. I thought they're like, well, what? You might as well. We'll give you this generic version of it because it's safer, and that's what I thought was the reason for the change, not any proprietorship or anything.
Well, I think that's kind of cool. I like the idea that maybe someone in Ring of Honor could just have a moveset that's like, he does a spear, he does, the stunner, he does a rock bottom. He could basically be Eugene if he wanted to be. He can do the people's elbow, but he gives it a different name, like what CM Punk did in Ring of Honor when he had the Pepsi Splash, which was the what's it called? Triple H's pedigree off the top rope. Obviously couldn't do that in WWE, but I like the idea that you can use the moves without having to be, say, this isn't, whatever.
They won't even let two guys be named Shane in WWE.
Really?
Well, they had Shane McMahon, and then they got Shane Helms, and they made him become Gregory Helms.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and the other example was Garrison Cade. They had Lance Storm, and they made Lance Cade Garrison Cade. Because I don't know if they just assume that the average fan is a complete moron. And they're probably right. I think the average fan is a complete moron when it comes to the overall. I mean, you've been to a live wrestling event. I mean, it's like going to a NASCAR event.
Or State Fair,
I'm sure we've offended a few people on the podcast by saying that, but most of you are like, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. You hold on to your wallet when you're at those shows. And I think they figure people be like, what? There's two guys named Shane? I don't get this. It's just like when they made
I thought he wrestled earlier.
I mean, like, it's the same reason that Billy Kidman couldn't wear his jean shorts and his wife beater, I think, because they're like, well, that Raven guy does that, so we're not going to let you wear jean shorts. And Austin wears jean shorts sometimes, so we can't have you wear jean shorts.
That's weird.
And they have that tendency to do that. Who was it? Oh, when Goldberg came in, he didn't wear the straight black trunks, because I'm guessing, I could be wrong, but I'm guessing they're like, well, we have a bald guy with black trunks.
Was that Lesnar?
No, Austin.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I never understood why they went to the black and with the white.
And they made them like the shorts. And I mean, I don't know if Goldberg himself said, I'm going to do that. But there are little things when guys come in that I think I've seen and taken it as, well, this is WWE putting their mark on the guy because they don't want fans to be confused with other wrestlers or other performers, or that they're like, well, we don't want people to think he's as good as our guy who we've had for a while.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Just Incredible was the same way. He wore the jean shorts too, and the sleeveless shirt, and they ended up putting him in like pants or like tights, like tight pants.
Very weird. It's interesting because like CM Punk came in and they let him keep his name, but pretty much everyone else, even like Kurt Henning's son, they give Michael McGillicuddy.
Yeah.
What's his name? I forget his.
Joe
Henning. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, of course, if you and I know, we've both seen the Punk documentary. I'm sure quite a few of you have. They touched on that where he fought and Heyman fought to keep him as CM Punk and said, we are not changing him. So, I mean, you look at Punk, I mean, that's one thing that has set Punk apart, where he's always been CM Punk, and you can see in that documentary where Heyman said that they made a point to say, we are not changing him, you're not going to, because I don't know what ideas they had, if any, if they said, you're going to be, Barry Stevens, and you're going to have an attitude.
You're going to dance.
And you're going to chew gum.
I wrote, did you see that article I wrote on the Australian wrestler, the Matt Silva guy?
No.
Well, WWE signed him. He's an Australian wrestler. And I wrote the article and someone wrote, can he dance? There does seem to be a lot of dancing gimmicks lately.
Quite a bit. You've got who do they have? Who's the guy that used to dance that doesn't anymore but's still there? You've got Brodus Clay,
Chuck and Jive.
You got Tensai, who has been in several dancing gimmicks now.
Yep. You got Fandango. I think
Jericho was on Dancing with the Stars, but he hasn't danced on WWE. And then there's we're forgetting somebody. Oh,
I don't know, but 3.
I mean, and then you look at Rikishi,
yeah.
Too Cool.
Yep, Gotti Dottie.
We need, you know what, next week's show, it's going to be all about dancing in WWE throughout history.
Be sure to tune into that. We had some other matches on Raw, believe it or not. One included Antonio Cesaro, the U.S. champion, against Alberto Del Rio, the World Heavyweight Champion. Believe it or not, Cesaro won.
Yeah, he won probably the only way that would allow him to win. In this case, I mean, by a count out. The only other way I could see is if Del Rio beat the living hell out of him and he won by DQ or something. Do you want to go with this one, or do you want me to go first? This one bothered me a lot, and it's because they made Del Rio to me look like the bad guy.
They did.
I mean, that he would just become incensed and come in and beat the piss out of
Cesaro. Yeah,
beat the piss out of the bad guy who just won the match. To me, that doesn't make sense, and
it felt really awkward too.
It did.
The crowd didn't know what to do.
Well, because Del Rio, to me, just like the week before in Pittsburgh, when the crowd's chanting "USA, USA," when Swagger the heel was beating up Del Rio and Ricardo Rodriguez.
Maybe it's very Republican crowds we got, possibly. And they think Swagger's a good guy.
It could be. And the problem I had with this, I saw it as a missed opportunity. You could have had Swagger beat up both guys for being un-American, and I mean, especially with one of them being the U.S. champion. Yeah, that would have been. I mean, that would have gotten all the heel heat on him. Mm-hmm. And now I'm just confused because I don't know if this. I still. I mean, for a guy who's having trouble selling himself as a babyface, Del Rio, this doesn't help matters.
It was very, very awkward. Now that you say that, I think Swagger versus Cesaro makes a million times more sense than Del Rio, but it's too late for that.
Yeah, I was going to say, Swagger should be competing for a U.S. title instead of a World Heavyweight title anymore.
Especially at WrestleMania. I don't have much more to say about the match. It entered in a count out, and then I'm already over the whole angle. I'm just tired of it.
To me, I think they've fumbled too many times with this. Where I know initially after Elimination Chamber, I thought this, and I think we talked about it a couple times, where this had potential to really be one that stood out, that maybe got some mainstream attention, being like, ooh, we have this guy. It's just, I think they've cooled down so much with being that they are geared towards a PG crowd now, but also I think they took so much flack for the Muhammad Hassan Undertaker terrorism gimmick,
like 6-7 years ago.
Yeah, that it really got them scared, or they haven't followed through with this storyline.
They need to shit or get off the pot. Yeah. They had a really good chance because people were starting to get into it a little bit, but they needed to step it up. Mm-hmm. They needed to go PG-14, or NC-17.
Yeah, or TV-14 or whatever it is. TVMA. Not TVMA. They went TVMA. That'd be a whole different thing.
I mean, throw out some racial slurs.
We'd see Zeb Coulter's little mustache. Oh, you throw out some racial slurs? Is that what you just said?
Yeah, I mean, if you really want heat, if you really want to go for it, I mean, look at the angles they used to have in the Attitude Era.
But the last thing they would want is to have some little kid holding up a sign with some racial slur at the next event.
Okay, well, they need to have parents who will be like, you know what, little kid, you're not bringing to the show,
But what are we talking about? We're talking about this wrestling crowd.
Well, what I'm saying is they need to either commit to this kind of storyline or not do it at all.
They could have just, they could have even just said, we don't like your kind or something like that. Or just, Coulter hasn't talked lately. That's one thing I've noticed, where I think when they probably were getting their most heat was when he was cutting promos in the ring. But that's the other thing is, throughout history they've had terrific mouthpieces. You look at, Jimmy Hart as a manager, Paul Bearer we just talked about, Paul Heyman, another one. Mm-hmm. But to me, Swagger has very little substance to himself, that Coulter can only do so much for him before people just yawn and say, all right, next.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see what happens. It could be a good match.
You know what I'm excited for? And you're going to witness it firsthand, of course. I think the crowd is going to be very hard on those guys. And I think we might even get a boring chant.
Probably. I think the crowd's going to be rough for the whole show.
If this kicks off the show, which the World Heavyweight Championship match has in recent years, maybe it doesn't matter what they do. The crowd will be so geeked up for the start of the show that they're not going to throw out a boring chant.
Maybe. We'll see. I'll be more than happy to yell boring if it's boring. Well, next we had Primetime Players versus Hell No. Big E and Ziggy stood on the ramp and stared them down. That's about all that happened in the match. There was not even a confrontation between the two.
Just a glorified squash match in that one.
And then after that, Triple H came out with his promo. Kind of boring, no Lesnar there. 2 weeks before the WrestleMania. Why can't they put Rock and Lesnar on the same show? Is it really like that difficult? 2 weeks before Mania?
I don't know what the reasoning for keeping them separated is, but the only thing I can figure is a guy like Lesnar sometimes is very enigmatic, and maybe he's just like, I don't feel like being on this week. 2 weeks from now, I'm gonna be home, curling or something. Doing curls, yeah.
Oh, not curling.
Not curling.
What a Minnesota stereotype!
Like we enjoy doing in the winter.
Yeah.
I meant doing curls. Like,
I gotcha.
Get back those muscles.
Clanging and banging.
I was clanging and banging. I said that last night.
Nice.
I had a soccer game, and somebody made a play where they just muscled through a guy, and I just said clanging and banging. And then we lost because I said that. No, we lost because we sucked. Back to this, I was relieved that Triple H's promo didn't last very long.
Oh, he has been long-winded.
I thought this was short and sweet, nice. And then he goes and does the classic Triple H.
Well, Wade Barrett comes out for some reason. I don't know why.
I'm Wade Barrett.
I have a match.
I'm Wade Barrett.
And he stares down. Well, Triple H stares him down, and he gets a.
I'm in a movie. I have a long face.
Should I interview Wade right now?
My chin is an upside down hill.
Yeah. So, what was your favorite part in the movie there, Wade?
The one where Colin Farrell shows his penis. The cameras weren't rolling.
I actually saw that movie.
Was it good?
No, it was
not. It could have been good. It ended, you paid money for that?
It was a terrible ending.
You paid to see that?
No, I torrented it.
Oh, God. You torrent stuff? Oh, my gosh.
I'm just kidding. I haven't seen the movie.
Is it LimeWire or Kazaa?
It's Kazaa.
You guys remember Kazaa? That was awesome.
Yeah, those were the days.
Oh, Kazaa.
No, I was just kidding. I haven't seen the movie. I was pretending to see that fake movie that you were talking about.
I see.
Mr. Barrett.
Okay.
Okay. So Triple H stares down Barrett, nails him in the groin. No reason given other than he's Triple H.
Just nothing but good old guy with a shovel.
Yep.
Burying younger competitors for no reason.
He should be the Undertaker, really.
Yeah, it's unbelievable that they somehow managed to do that.
Intercontinental Champion.
We don't need him. I mean, he doesn't even have a match at Mania.
Miz.
Not officially. Wow. They didn't make it official. We're going to assume, and I think we figure it will be a pre-show match.
At least, yeah.
Here's our question, though. Do you guys think, as I think, it's possible that we could have, I don't know, a triple threat unification match with the US and IC titles?
You could have Cesaro, Miz, Barrett.
Maybe throw Kofi Kingston in there?
Otunga.
Oh, God, are you serious?
Well, he's in a movie. Who else?
And the winner gets both belts and the starring role in the Marine 4.
Mm-hmm. And Stephanie McMahon. I don't know. I think they should unify the belts. I don't know which one they get rid of, or if they
get rid of the U.S. title, because I mean
it was a WCW.
Yeah, exactly. I mean Vince isn't going to be like, oh, take this WCW title, which is how he sees it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Over a WWF title, and
it's
I say
cool looking belt.
To me the U.S. title.
Both of them.
Oh, I think the U.S. title looks like shit.
Really?
Yeah. I like the John Cena Spinner U.S. title better. That's how bad this one looks. It just looks flimsy. If you look at it, I don't know if maybe it's older. I'm sure they get new titles every few months or whatever, something like that, but this one looks very flimsy and old. It just looks like it hasn't been cared for. The IC title, I think, since Cody put the white on there, that thing looks awesome.
Well, they came back with a classic design, actually.
Yes, they did.
And I love that.
It's
design.
cool.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
And all they need is like that Ultimate Warrior turquoise
or the
yellow.
Yeah.
Either way, that'd be pretty sweet too.
Yeah,
but the white, it complements it, much like the red snakeskin behind the World Heavyweight Championship. Mm-hmm. Oh my god, I love that thing.
I just love...
Especially if I think about it resting on Alberto Del Rio's tom-tom. Oh.
I like when they do a little something different with a certain belt. It makes it distinguish from the rest. And
like when they put a giant W on the front.
Yeah. The big logo.
And put bull horns and bull heads on them.
I got credit from quite a few people when I wrote a story about like the past like debuts of belts, of world heavyweight belts, and I gave the moniker to the new belt of the big logo, and people started going, "Oh, the big logo! I'm going to call it that." You know, like
I like it. Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, the previous belt will be known as the spinner belt.
Spinner belt. Yep. We had the big eagle. We had the winged eagle. We had the 86 Hogan and 85 Andre belt.
You're just making that up now. No one called it that.
No,
I'm just kidding.
But I think this could be the big logo. It's just a giant logo. What else would you call it?
I like it.
Yeah.
I think they should give next time, like the next generations, they should just get sunglasses. Like, I'm gonna fight you for those championship sunglasses, and that's it. I mean, that'd be sweet.
It'd be a lot easier to wear.
Well, and you have that ladder match. It'd be harder to grab those sunglasses hanging from the top. And try not to break them too. Yeah. That's the key. Is if you break the sunglasses while trying to grab them, they're yours.
Yeah,
you pay for them.
Well, we had another match. We had Ryback versus the 3-man band. Shockingly, Ryback won that match. I don't know how he could win against 3 people.
Yeah, especially one of them being the chosen one, Drew McIntyre.
Exactly, and the 1-man band himself.
So if he's the 1-man band, how are they the 3-man band? Are they all 1-man bands, and then together they're 3-man band? See, that's the thing I don't understand.
It would be 3 bands then, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it'd be 3 1-man bands.
Yeah.
That's what they'd be.
Yeah. Well, maybe the 1-man band plays all the instruments. The other 2 are as roadies?
I don't know, but they're 3-man band, or they call them. They're 3MB. Are they like Third Eye Blind with an M in it or something instead of 3EB?
I don't know.
3MB.
They're the...
Right now, I think Third Eye Blind would beat 3-man band in a match.
I think it would be a good match, actually.
I think so. Steven Jenkins is a lot tougher than people give him credit for.
And not Kofi. Drew McIntyre is a lot worse than people think.
Yeah, and right now he looks like Crush when Crush was in DOA. Like he looks like Crush when Crush had that jailbird gimmick or whatever. Man. That's what he looks like right now.
I liked his when he had the hair.
Crush when he had the dreadlocks.
Yeah,
that was the time when he was the jailbird or whatever. May he rest in peace.
Is Crush dead?
Yeah, he died.
Man.
He died like somebody Google it, but I think it was 08. I think he died in 08.
Early 90s. I used to wrestle in the basement with my neighbor across the street, and we would always run through all the people, and Tatanka and Crush and Doink and all those.
Can you show me on the iPhone where he touched you? It's okay. It's not your fault.
No, it's fine. Okay, we had a Divas match as well. AJ versus Kaitlyn. AJ won by a countout.
Yeah. Well, 1, I was glad to see AJ back in the ring. 2, I thought Kaitlyn really hurt herself on that spear or whatever. When she just threw herself with reckless abandon into that barrier. I thought, I mean, because let's be straight. When you're watching a women's match, at any given moment, one of them could give themselves a career-ending injury.
Themselves.
At any time. I mean, how many Candice Michelle matches did you see where she concussed herself? It was unbelievable.
Alicia Fox... I think she's going to injure someone every match she's in. Mm-hmm. She's the most awkward performer I've ever seen.
This was one of those, and I thought I don't trust Kaitlyn enough to not have gone headfirst into that thing. So I didn't know at first. I'm like, is she supposed to lose by a countout, or can she really not get up?
I thought it was really cool. It's good to see the Divas actually going after it a little bit too. Mm-hmm. You know. their matches aren't very interesting at the moment because it's more like they jump on each other and just roll around and scream a bit.
I don't have any problem with that.
It does sound kind of bad that I'm like, it's not very good.
You put Lawler and Cole on mute. It's not
put
bad.
Put it on
dude.
slow motion.
It's not bad. Not bad at all.
Light some candles.
AJ is cut. Like, she's got those ridiculous ribs. Abs. She's got those, I love ribs. Oh. She's got ridiculous, fall off the bone.
Yeah.
But I think she even made a reference to her and Ziggler having kids and having babies with great abs or something like that. But whatever. Yeah. Those matches serve their purpose. They're like 2 minutes long at the most.
Usually, yeah. But it looks like they're going that way for WrestleMania for a match, which is interesting because you could have AJ, Big E, and Ziggler
own the gold.
Have all the gold. They could have the Divas Championship, they could have the Tag Team belts, and the World Heavyweight Championship at the end of WrestleMania.
That'd be a nice angle to go for. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, you look at AJ is so popular right now. I mean, and she does a good job of keeping that heel persona and not being, like, too liked by the fans. But, I mean, she gets everybody's attention, and I give her a ton of credit for not having that. I mean, because really, she looks like she's, like, I don't know what, like 20, maybe. I think she's like 24 or 25. Like 20, but she looks like a little kid compared to the other women in WWE. And for her to be as popular and used as frequently as she is in some significant storylines, kudos to her. I mean, she's doing a terrific job.
Oh, yeah, big time. And I remember the first time I saw her, she was dressed up as Katana from Mortal Kombat in a Divas like Battle Royal, and that's when I fell in love with the girl. I'm like, she's Katana, and she was even doing that, with the hands, and I was like, and this was before she had even like had a match in WWE, and I'm like, that's my girl, that's my favorite, and then she just exploded. So I feel like I kind of discovered her, and she's mine.
That is creepy, dude.
Yeah. I did find out who's going to be at Access when I'm at WrestleMania.
Okay. And
I was kind of bummed because AJ is not going to be at my session. Antonio Cesaro will be.
Cool.
Dusty Rhodes will be.
Okay.
There's a few others, but no big names that I was really excited about. But Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels will be there. I just can't get their autographs.
How come?
Because you have to pay for VIP session. I tried to buy one for Shawn Michaels.
This sounds like a racket.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I tried to get the Shawn Michaels ones. They sold out in less than a minute. So.
Ooh.
Yeah, but at least I'll get to see them, Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels at the same event. That's pretty cool.
Well, at least you'll get the Boogeyman's autograph. I'm sure he'll be there.
Yeah. So to cap off Raw, we had a Hall of Fame Q&A panel featuring the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. We had Mick Foley, Booker T, and a very unenergetic Bret Hart.
Yeah, I worry about that man's health. He looks frailer and frailer. Yeah. Or is it more frail? One of those. Frail. He looks pretty bad.
I just thought he didn't give a shit. Like, did you hear his question? Like, well, they had a panel and they were asking Rock and Cena. We didn't set that up.
Yep.
But Bret Hart, like, yeah, well, I'm Canadian and, I just want to know, why are you guys fighting so hard? It was like the lamest, that wasn't the question, but it was some, like, retarded question that had nothing to do with anything that they're talking about. And they're like, well, Rock's like, well, I'm gonna beat up John Cena, and that will happen at WrestleMania.
I mean, for all we know, he probably forgot his lines or something. I don't know. He doesn't have the memorization ability of Jack Swagger. The one thing I saw, Marty DeRosa, the comedian, said on Twitter, he goes, why didn't Hart ask The Rock, why after all these years can he still not properly do the sharpshooter?
That's a good one. Well, I think it's because Rock's legs are about, 42 inches around each.
Because his legs are like trash bins.
Oh, yeah.
They're enormous.
Yeah. Well, and then they had a photo of The Rock giving the rock bottom to Cena. And Dusty Rhodes is freaking out. Booker T is like, whoa, 5 times.
And Bret Hart's asleep?
Pretty much. Bret Hart's like, just stone face. It's like he's not even there. It's like you passed out watching a football game on Sunday afternoon or something.
Just give me my paycheck. I showed up.
Yeah, I booked it. But there was some boring chants during the debate. And I even tweeted out, I'm like, could you imagine this, a debate? A Q&A debate?
I just hope
15 years ago?
I mean, I just hope that they had a great off-air match after that featuring anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, because when you go to a show like that and you get a handful of matches and then the main segment is not a match.
They had podiums.
Yeah. And
they had podiums for a wrestling...
I had to watch on DVR because I worked Monday night.
Yeah.
But when I was at work, I turned on the TV for a minute at around 10 o'clock, and I saw podiums, and I saw Rock and Cena, and I just immediately shut it off. I'm like, oh god, this is the final segment. So then, sure enough, I watched it, and it was as bad as I thought it would be.
It started really bad. The ending wasn't terrible. It actually got a lot better. And one interesting part that I was really kind of taken aback by was Cena. Basically, he almost looked like he was going to cry. Like he was so emotional about why he has to beat The Rock, and The Rock then called him out. He's like, "What do you mean? Like you have to win because you have to? What does that mean?" And I forget what he said, but he was like really, really, really emotional about it. And it made me feel like he might do anything to beat Rock.
Well, I'm hoping that's the case. I hope it comes to him cheating or becoming a bad guy in some way so that we can get something out of it.
But he, like, even the crowd got to him, it looked like, which never happens to John Cena. I mean, he gets booed all the time. But when they were booing him, like, you could tell, like, he was affected by it. And I don't know if that was just I'm sure it's just a good acting job by Cena, but...
Well, he was in the first Marine movie.
Yeah. The best one by, IMDb standards.
You would know.
Yeah. But I don't know. It was a side of Cena that I've never seen before, and I was really impressed by it. And it actually made me feel like something might happen at WrestleMania. I never thought a heel turn is going to happen. I hope for it. Everyone's been hoping for it for years. But any kind of character change, I would be open to for Cena, because he's been the same guy for so long. Even if he just becomes a more emotional person and he, I don't know, gives into the hate, or
Kane tried that.
Yeah, it's basically Luke Skywalker right now, and he's so angry that he's unable to overcome this obstacle, and he will do anything he wants, anything he has to defeat this enemy.
That would be a way to completely flip WrestleMania into the favor of fans by saying, okay,
having Rock cut off his hand.
Well, that would be intense. I don't know. I mean, they have that no blood rule, so I mean, he would have to cauterize that thing immediately, or it would have to be done with the lights out during a Shield attack or an Undertaker appearance or something.
Just imagine the crowd. His hand goes flying off.
I would want Jim Ross to be calling that, my God, he's severing his hand. Damn it.
He's got a family.
Son of a bitch. You can't fight with a bloody stump, John. Stop the damn match. Son of a bitch.
Somebody help this man.
He's like a one-armed man in an ass-kicking contest.
Yeah. But, so the finish was great. Cena goes
Really? The finish was great? Come on, Matt.
What?
The finish was great to that Raw?
Yeah, no. The finish of the finish. The finish of that segment was great.
Okay.
What I was trying to say.
I know.
Because I really like the emotional stuff, and then they actually got physical at the end, where Cena goes to hit him with the AA. Rock kicks out, or...
It'll always be the F you to me.
Yeah. And then he hits him with the rock bottom. So that was cool, to actually have a little action for once.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I like the very end of it, which sets up our go home show next week. And we do have some breaking news. I guess it's not really breaking because it happened last night, but we have some Smackdown spoilers. So if you don't want to hear them, you can turn it off now. Maybe skip ahead 2 minutes.
Yeah, skip ahead about 2 minutes.
But John Laurinaitis, Johnny Ace, People Power is back.
Yeah, you told me this. I didn't see the SmackDown results from last night. I I like to watch it without knowing what happened, but I had you tell me because I was curious. Now, with him to come back on SmackDown, it's weird because they usually don't do a whole lot of big changes for SmackDown or on SmackDown first. So it could be just a throwaway item because you said Rock bottomed him. Or you explained, you set up since you saw it.
Well, The Rock was given a promo to start the first segment of SmackDown, which is news in itself, that Rock's going to be on SmackDown this week. And Johnny Ace interrupts him. He says he wants to be in Rock's corner at WrestleMania because he hates John Cena, and John Cena cost him his job when he lost in the main event of, what was it? I don't know. Less than a year ago. One of those pay-per-views. It should not have been the main event, but I digress. So he comes out, Rock basically declines, gives him the spine buster and hits him with people's elbow, and I'm sure that's how the segment ended. But it could be interesting, you know, if they're going to put Johnny Laurinaitis back into the main event scene, kind of. But I highly doubt that we'll see anything beyond Friday.
I mean, if we added in, one, it's weird that they would do this less than 2 weeks. By the way, if you did push forward 2 minutes ahead, maybe push another minute ahead.
Yeah.
I could see him coming back if they wanted to actually do something with this. I could see him if he says, "Yeah, I want to be in Rock's corner. Cena cost me my job." If this was to help with the Cena swerve, and he somehow helped John Cena win the championship at WrestleMania, he could then say, "I did this to get back at CM Punk, and I want Cena to exceed CM Punk's reign as champion." And then you could have a year and a half of people hating John Cena and loving every minute of television during this time. That would be great. I would love that. That'd be awesome. Especially if Cena, if Laurinaitis was his mouthpiece. Oh, that'd be a lot of fun.
Cena's mouth. I don't even want to do it. Okay, so that was Raw and our little SmackDown spoiler. We got about 14 minutes left, so we're gonna go into our top 10 for the week, and this is our top 10 WrestleMania matches of all time. I don't know why I say it like that every time, but of all time.
Five time.
Yeah, and you'll forgive me, I got some paper here where I wrote it down.
That's authentic.
I know. Yeah. Let me put these in order here.
That's a bit excessive.
No, it's not. All right, we got number 10. This is one of your favorite matches. We had Rock versus Austin at WrestleMania 17.
That was a cool match. It was the second of their 3 encounters at WrestleMania. Of course, Austin turned heel there with the help of Vince McMahon.
Shaking hands with Satan himself.
I love how you remember that. I love the matches between those guys. I wasn't huge on that ending, just because it just seemed to drag on with the excessive amount of chair shots. But you have to have one of their matches in the top 10, and this one was pretty good.
Yeah, I love 19 as well because it was the final match between them and the final match for Austin. But 17 really, it capped off maybe the greatest WrestleMania of all time. It had the big heel turn at the end that no one ever expected. No one ever thought that Austin would go heel. And the match itself was pretty incredible. It was a no disqualification match. You talk about the chair shots and all that, but it was just great. Definitely worth the top 10. You have to have one of the Rock and Austin, at least one of the Rock and Austin matches in there, and this is well earned top 10 match. Our number 9 match was 2 years later. It was for the WWE Championship?
Which one?
It was Brock Lesnar versus Kurt Angle at WrestleMania 19.
That was for the WWE title.
Yeah, Kurt Angle was the champion. Yep. And that was an incredible match. And WrestleMania 19 is my favorite WrestleMania ever. And this match, also the one of the greatest moments ever, is when Lesnar tried to... We talked about this last week when he does the shooting star press from like a million miles away. Lands...
Unbelievable.
Lands like half an inch short. And basically should have died. But everything before that was awesome too. Like the technical wrestling. Angle was wrestling with like a broken neck basically. I mean, his neck was so messed up. He wasn't, like, doctors told him not even to wrestle. And he went out and put on a show like one of the greatest matches we'll ever see. So all those things included, it was just an incredible match. If you haven't seen it, you should definitely go watch it.
I agree. I loved that match. Both of those guys were in just solid shape at that time in their careers.
Oh, yeah.
Number 8, a favorite of mine, or else it wouldn't be on this list. It's obviously a favorite of both of ours. The TLC match at WrestleMania 17 between the Hardys, the Dudleys, and Edge and Christian.
Yep, at WrestleMania 16 they had a triangle ladder match, which won Match of the Year, and as an encore they put on the first, I believe it was the first TLC match ever, because you had the Dudleys with the chairs, you had the
tables.
I'm sorry, yeah.
And then Edge and Christian with the chairs.
Edge and Christian with the chairs, and then ladders were the Hardys, of course. Mm-hmm. Put them all together, and you had just perfect.
He kissed
recipe.
me just now.
Yeah, twice. You have very nice lips.
Thank you.
Yeah. So great match, incredible spots. You have the Swanton bomb off like that huge ladder onto a table. You had the spear from the top of the ladder. Hardy smashes him down. Ed and Christian win again. It was the second year in a row that they won both of those matches. Mm-hmm. Wins Match of the Year again. And it stole the show at maybe the greatest WrestleMania of all time at WrestleMania 17.
Awesome match.
Yes. Our number 7 match of all time took place at WrestleMania 20. And it was a main event for the World Heavyweight Championship? Yeah.
Is this a triple threat match?
Yep, between Chris Benoit, Triple H, and Shawn Michaels. Mm-hmm.
Great match. An ending no one expected. Can we agree there?
Absolutely, yeah. Benoit won the match. Yeah. Had a great moment at the end of it as well when Eddie Guerrero came out and the friends hugged and the confetti rained down on top of the Madison Square Garden, and Friends United after all those years and stuck in the cruiserweight division in WCW and finally getting their big shot on the big show. And really great match. Shawn Michaels, obviously all-time performer, was in it. Triple H had one of his greater matches at WrestleMania ever, and Benoit I think he got Triple H to tap out to the Crippler Crossface for the win there.
Yes.
Okay, so that was number 7.
Number 6. Number 6 was Michaels and Flair. Again, HBK is littered all over this list, but yeah. WrestleMania 24, Ric Flair's last WWE match. Shawn Michaels. We talked again about this a lot last week, and this one I rank it up there because it was quality, and I take Ric Flair's age into account.
59.
That he was able to perform this way. It won Match of the Year.
Match of the Decade.
Match of the Decade.
By PWI. Right. It won Match of the Year and Match of the Decade.
And you can't have one without the other.
Exactly.
And I was impressed because I remember this run of Flair's. I remember the retirement. I remember the ceremony after on Raw the next night. I remember the Hall of Fame ceremony before this. And I just remember it was emotional. It was, I mean, I didn't grow up watching Flair until like the tail end of like NWA, and then, really started watching him in, 92 when he came to WWF. But I mean, I couldn't appreciate like young 1970s, early 80s Flair because I was not alive, or I was
styling and profiling.
And I just really, having a body like this is winning the lottery.
Yep.
I was impressed because I didn't expect a great match, and we got a great match.
Yeah, and the storytelling was the number one thing behind that match. I mean, it had good spots and stuff, and it was a good technical match, even with a 59-year-old Flair. But I mean, the emotion behind it and everything, and the story behind it. He had won like for 4 straight months heading in. I think it was around Survivor Series, the week after Survivor Series, when Vince McMahon came out. It's like, next time you lose is the last time you lose. Mm-hmm. And he beat guys like Triple H.
I remember he and the Hurricane had a match, and Hurricane was this match was outstanding. They both were awesome. It was a lot of fun, and I think the next week he fought Triple H for the World Heavyweight Championship. Flair did, and it was an awesome match. And it was one where I thought that Flair could have won the title, but I'm thinking he must have won by DQ or
something like that, probably.
But that was a lot of fun to watch that run.
Yeah, he went on and he beat a bunch of guys who no one expected him to beat, at that time. And then he challenged Michaels to the match, and Michaels didn't want to do it because he didn't want to be the guy who ended Flair's career. Mm-hmm. And he reluctantly did it, and he had that moment, I love you, I'm sorry, and beat him, and just everything about it was pretty much perfect. Our top 5 kicks off at WrestleMania 21. We have another Shawn Michaels match, this time against Kurt Angle.
Weird.
Yeah.
2 of my favorite performers. I'm not an enormous I love HBK, but he was great to watch, and I mean, he's one of the best ever. Yeah. And then Kurt Angle is one of my favorites of all time, so to see these guys put on a clinic, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, if you're an aspiring wrestler and you want to know how to wrestle, watch that match.
Yes.
It's the most technical, sound match, one of the most I've ever seen, and it's just back and forth. Like, you'd expect CM Punk and Daniel Bryan to aspire to these kind of levels that they put on at 21. Our number 4 match is another technical spectacle.
Number 4 was one of my favorites as well. It stands the test of time. It's one that people always talk about. Maybe if you compare it to the wrestling today, it's not going to come out quite the same, but you can still go back, and I know you have recently watched it, but Savage Steamboat. Savage Steamboat, sorry. Steamboat. Got Flair on the mind.
WrestleMania 3.
Although Flair and Steamboat had several great matches, just
absolutely,
most of them not with WWF.
No, in the WCW. But yeah, it's incredible for the time, and that's what you need to take into effect here, because no one was putting on shows like this. This was the time of giants with Andre and Hogan and Warrior and all these big guys like what's his name?
Big John Studd, King Kong Bundy.
Yeah, King Kong Bundy, and just hulking mass of men, basically
one-man gang.
Yeah, lots of rest holds, and they put on a technical masterpiece that still people look to today as far as like a quality match, and it holds up, and you can watch it today and still enjoy it. Our number 3 match of all time is another technical masterpiece, and there's quite a few of them, but this might be the best.
Yeah, the first performer we're going to name had some terrific matches at Mania that sometimes in these latter years get forgotten. Mm-hmm. But you have the honors.
Well, Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels, the 1-hour Iron Man match at WrestleMania 12. This was the childhood dream moment where Shawn won his first WWF championship, I believe. You have maybe the 2 greatest in-ring performers of all time wrestling for an hour to a draw. And then they need overtime to win it. The overtime lasted like a minute and a half.
And you also, at that time, had such contrasting personalities.
Yeah.
I mean, Bret Hart was this... I mean, I don't want to say quiet, but I mean, he let his ability speak for itself. And then you had Michaels, who at that time, admittedly, was a dick. Total dick. And to have them go up against each other, it was a lot of fun for fans. And that's still, I mean... That right there, you talked about HBK and Angle. I mean, here was Kurt Angle before Kurt Angle when it comes to the excellence of execution.
Oh yeah, there are some lulls in the action throughout the hour, which is expected, but they just hit every beat. Like you were never bored. You like to hold an audience's attention for an entire hour is incredible, and they were able to do it. And I don't think we'll ever see it again.
Who would you want to see do an Iron Man match at next year's Mania? Who are the 2 guys you'd want to see?
CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, Dolph Ziggler. Those are the only 3 people in any combination.
I could maybe see, and I mean, I say maybe because of his age, but you could maybe put Chris Jericho in there as somebody who could pull it off.
Possibly.
But those 3 picks are probably what most people would say.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think they'd all be up for it in any combo.
If I had to pick only 2, it would be Daniel Bryan and CM Punk. I think those who could really put on a show. They probably have wrestled an hour against each other before on the independents. Our number 2 match of all time. This was actually a really difficult one to put at number 2 even.
we have a ton, and we want your feedback on this because we had, a ton of matches that did not make the top 10 that easily could have been in there. So we'd love to see some discussion on this one.
Yeah.
The numero dos was very tough even in itself because you had to look at its mate from the next year. But we went with the WrestleMania 25 match between The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, and this was not to slight their second match, which was an amazing match as well. You know, Shawn Michaels' final match at WrestleMania. But the first one was, the story that was told, you had dark versus light. You had...
Do that thing again. That...
Yeah,
that's what that was.
Fantissimo, you know. Yeah. Their battle at 25... For me, I can watch it every day of the week and still be like, wow. To the finish, you had the kickouts, you had the tombstones, you had super kicks, you had and no one would stay down. It was just incredible. You have Mr. WrestleMania versus The Streak. Everything just lined up for the perfect match. And WrestleMania 25 was kind of a down year, but that match, again. Which leaves our number one match of all time.
Number one, you say it, man.
Hart versus Austin, WrestleMania 13. And not only for the match, which was incredible, the moment was incredible as well, with Austin trying to kick out of the sharpshooter, with blood just dripping down his face. He's trying to force himself up. Shamrock's right there as a guest referee. You have the double heel turn at the end, or the double turn at the end, where Hart, turns to a bad guy. Austin becomes a good guy, which basically carried a wave of momentum for the next 5 years through the Attitude Era. It was that important. It was that. Just if you haven't seen it, go watch it. I'm gonna try and find it. I'll embed it on the website for you. You don't even have to go anywhere. Just click on it, watch it, enjoy it, and then tell me what's up.
The thing I loved most about this match was not only the significance that it had on the future of this business, but that you had, again, one of the most gifted technical wrestlers in Bret Hart, and then you had the largest personality in wrestling history. This was Stone Cold Steve Austin saying, boom.
This is my moment.
This is mine.
Yep.
And to have that combination of those two at that time, and to have them put together the performance they did, and to have the double turn, that I'm going to give it a mwah.
It's 4 mahs. So that's our top 10. Let us know what you think. We really spent a lot of time on this one. So we'll get into our final 10 rounds here. I know we're a little over time, which we tend to do. We have our final 10.
It's going to be worth
rounds.
it, though. This draft, I'm freaking stoked for this.
Oh, me too. Well, I get the first pick.
Boo.
We'll recap our teams. I actually wrote them down so we don't have to remember them this time. We got Team Matt, Undertaker, HBK, Bill Goldberg, The Ultimate Warrior, Chris Jericho, Bret Hart, Ric Flair, Sting, Brock Lesnar, John Cena, Mick Foley, Daniel Bryan, Chris Benoit, Randy Orton, and Kevin Nash from the Wolfpack. And then Team Jimmy, do you want to read off yours?
Yes. Here's my picks, 1 through 15. Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, CM Punk, Hulk Hogan, Randy Savage, Kurt Angle, Bruno Sammartino. I could stop there, and I could take his 15 guys and kill them. Well, maybe not. Well, Chris Benoit, he's already dead, so yeah. Then Jake Roberts, Edge, Triple H, Andre the Giant, Yokozuna, Mr. Perfect, Big Show, and RVD. Rob Van Dam.
Pretty solid teams, I must admit. And this is everyone's favorite part where I write, and they can feel it and hear it.
Hooray!
Yeah. All right. I got the first pick. I'm going with Eddie Guerrero.
All right. That's totally cool. I have several guys that I just want to take here, but I'm going to have to go with... Oh, jeez. See, right now I'm trying to think, who will you take and who will you leave? Because if there's several guys here that you'll leave, I'll gladly wait before I pick them. But I'm going to have to go with my guy, Mick Foley.
I already took him.
You did?
Yeah.
You son of a biscuit. Oh my God. I didn't, I'm looking at my
Round
list.
11.
I didn't write down the guys that are off of this list that you've already taken. I just have a list of everybody.
Well, I got the list here if you want.
But it's upside down to me.
Check. Okay.
Oh shit. You know what? We'll keep adding to size. I'm going to go with Kane.
Solid pick at this time in the draft. Let me erase him off of my list so I don't actually take him. All right. With my second pick, I'm going to go with the Razor Ramon himself, Scott Hall.
Not a bad choice. I can't believe he's still on the board. Mm-hmm. Not a bad pick at all. I'm going to go with somebody who's underrated, I think, because he had a terrific career overall. Awesome wrestler. I'm going with Ted DiBiase.
Junior.
No. That's my 25th pick.
Oh, okay. Really?
No.
Okay. It seems a little early for TB2. Okay, with my third pick, boy, I have so many good wrestlers left on this list that it's hard to pick. But I think I'm going to go with Owen Hart.
That's an excellent choice.
Thank you.
And I have 3 or 4 guys that I'm pretty sure you won't take, so I don't want to take them yet. So I'll go with Dolph Ziggler.
All right, that's solid. Okay, with my fourth pick, I'm going with Ricky Steamboat.
Lucky. And I'm going to take the British Bulldog, Davey Boy Smith.
British Bulldog. All right, fifth pick out of the 10 rounds today. Boy, oh boy, where do I go from there? All right, I'm gonna do this, and this is for one of our listeners. I'm taking Vince McMahon.
Really?
Because you've got no chance. That's what you've got.
You know what's funny? There's Type or Tap, those little games on WWE.com, and there's one you have to name all of the people who have lost in a match to Vince McMahon. And there's like 20-some guys, and wow. I could get like 3/4 of them. Some of them I forgot, and then others they'll have like Cody Rhodes, Ted DiBiase, and Randy Orton. He ended up beating in a 3-on-3 match where Shane and Triple H were his partners. So there's some
Vince has won a Royal Rumble
and a WWE
Championship, which is more than Scott Hall can say.
That's true. I'm gonna go with is Batista off the board?
No, he's not.
We'll go with Batista.
All right. Pretty solid. I'm just not a huge fan of Batista.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of him per se, but I think he was a decent wrestler.
Yeah. All right. With my sixth pick, I'm going to go with Roddy Piper.
Is Jeff Hardy still on the board?
Jeff Hardy is still available.
We're going Jeff Hardy.
I was looking at him, too. Let me see here. All right, seventh pick. Man, so many guys I still want to take on this list. All right, I'll take Booker T.
Excellent, dude. He's a guy overlooked. I'm going to go with... Why not? Perry Saturn. Gotta throw him on there. And again, we're not saying these are the 25 greatest wrestlers of all time for each side.
We're just selecting our own team. I took Bill Goldberg number in my third round.
And I'm taking these guys as if I could as if I could realistically collect them at their prime in the same arena and put them on a team.
Okay, with my eighth pick, wow, jeez. I only get 3 more. All right. I'll take an old school guy. Lou Thez.
Oh, it's funny that you would say that because I, too, am taking an old school guy. Maybe not that old school, but I'm taking Harley Race.
Damn it, I had him written down too. This is where you get the steals of the draft right here.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna have another one, I think, with Dusty Rhodes.
Excellent pick. I'm going with one of my all-time favorites.
Raven?
He's awesome. He's tough as hell, and he is unstoppable in WCW versus NWO Revenge for Nintendo 64.
Goldberg?
Scott Norton.
Scott Norton. Nice.
And I think he had like 9 belts at one time.
Really?
Yeah, all from Japan.
Wow. All right, last round of our 25-round WWE draft. I might have to go old school again because we've kind of gone new school for the first like 20 picks. Boy, there are so many good ones too. Who's the best? You know what? Okay, yeah. I'll go with the 2013 WWE Hall of Fame inductee, Bob Backlund.
Oh, that's awesome. That's an excellent one. I want to go old school on this pick, but I'm going to leave him off in favor of one of my all-time favorites. We're taking Billy Gunn.
I should have known. Okay, so to recap for this week, we got Team Matt picking Eddie Guerrero, Scott Hall, Owen Hart, Ricky Steamboat, Vincent Kennedy McMahon, Rowdy Piper, Booker T, Luthez, Dusty Rhodes, The American Dream, and Bob Backlund.
That's a rock solid lineup, but I still think I've got you beat.
Well, we'll let the listeners decide. Well, actually, WWE 13 is going to decide when I come back from New York.
But you're unstoppable. You can reverse everything. Oh no, the computer's doing it. That's right. Yeah. Never mind.
Team Jimmy drafted today. We got Kane, Ted DiBiase Sr., Dolph Ziggler, British Bulldog, Batista, Jeff Hardy, Perry Saturn, Harley Race, Scott Norton, and Billy Gunn. And I just want to say, if we had like 15 more rounds, I would have selected. I mean, there was Gorgeous George, Terry Funk, Dean Malenko, Jimmy Snuka, Jerry the King Lawler.
Lawler was going to be my last pick.
Ravishing Rick Rude, Christian, Raven, Arn Anderson, Brian Pillman, Rey Mysterio, Sergeant Slaughter, Lex Luger, Vader, Buddy Rogers, Billy Graham, and X-Pac still on my list.
Bubba Ray Dudley. We've got Bradshaw, or JBL, Dynamite Kid, Samoa Joe, Cliff Compton, Austin Aries, Rick and Scott Steiner, Arn Anderson, Antonio Cesaro, Damian Sandow, Sid.
Oh, yeah.
And Farouk, Ron Simmons.
Yep.
Just those are, I mean, you can, and that's the beauty of wrestling is
there's always another guy.
One thing that has kept me eternally connected to wrestling throughout the years is that video games allow us to have these matchups that we've never seen.
Yeah.
And you can connect the eras like never before, and there's literally hundreds of guys we could have had on these lists.
Easy. Yeah, maybe next time we'll have to have 100-round draft or something. Yeah. Really get like the Ultimo Dragons and the...
Yeah, and we'd love to see, I mean, of course, if you're doing it by yourself, it'd be hard to pick. I mean, you can't really say, oh, these are my 25 guys, because you'd have to assume some of them wouldn't be available. But give us your list of 25. Take a pool of a couple hundred guys and pick 25 out of there and say, this is my team. I'll put them up against anybody.
Yeah. And you know, it might be fun. Maybe if we do this again in the future, we could actually have listeners call in and be part of the draft and have it more than a two-person round.
Agreed.
Because then it gets a little more difficult when you have to choose, you know, when there's 6 guys being drafted in the first round compared to 2.
Yeah.
So this was a lot of fun. We'll put up the results of the Battle Royal on WWE 13 when we're done. Thanks for listening this week, guys. You know, hopefully you don't miss me too much when I'm in New York.
We will be hearing from Matt via telephone, and we will be so close to WrestleMania when you guys hear this next week.
Yep.
Not this one, but our next one.
Yes. All right, thanks, guys.
Take care.